This is WeatherScope.
Top of the morning, everyone. It is half past the hour on Wednesday morning, the 20th of August. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Bruce Edwards. This is Cheryl Lemke. Middle of the week, but it's my first day back after being a bit on vacation, so I was a little rusty, a little slow on the birthdays today. But I was looking through and got some interesting birthdays, some contrast here. Robert Plant, former lead singer of Led Zeppelin, is turning 49 today. He's ready for the senior tour of rock stars coming up pretty soon. I had to give my son an education as what Led Zeppelin was on the long ride from Ohio back down here, but he knows.
Is that really up on the classic rock and roll?
That's true. That's right. Isaac Hayes, another classic rocker. He's 55 today, and Connie Chung is celebrating a birthday today, so happy birthday to one and all.
Yeah, happy birthday to all the birthday folks out there. And overall, the weather's not too bad for most of us, but I'll tell you what, we certainly have some wet spots around the country, and let's take a look at those right now. Now, one spot that's been unusually wet has been California. Usually for the month of August, it's pretty dry, but that was not the case yesterday. We've been dealing with the remnants of Tropical Storm Ignacio, and that system came on shore yesterday, and it produced typically a ½ inch of rain around the Bay Area. And now that moisture will continue to ride off towards the Pacific Northwest, and eventually this afternoon, showers with maybe some strong thunderstorms will be possible for Washington and for Oregon. Another exceptionally wet spot has been up around Minnesota. Here, too, we had some generous downpours yesterday, and very heavy rains have been coming in across the Ohio Valley. Why? Well, it's a fairly complex storm system. One low has been working its way from the Mississippi Valley, now gliding over towards the Ohio Valley. At the same time, another low-pressure system poised over Minnesota will continue on its eastward journey. So we're going to be seeing these low-pressure areas converging over the northeast later today. And at the same time, too, moisture coming up from the Gulf and moisture feeding in from off the Atlantic. So boy, what a wet scenario being painted throughout the northeast and across the Appalachians. At least right now, though, it's not looking too bad. We still have mostly cloudy skies around New York City, over towards Islip and on into Montauk Point on Long Island. So right now, kind of a precursor of things to come, because the clouds will continue to thicken and lower. And certainly by the evening rush hour, it's going to be challenging throughout the northeast. Now, already just a sample of what's to come, because there's been some rain flaring up over western Pennsylvania. Scattered showers right now for Pittsburgh on into Altoona and Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Then we've had some very heavy rains on into West Virginia, around Martinsburg. Heavy downpours in progress. Again, with that low-pressure system working its way eastbound, it's spreading that swath of showers and storms. Right now, scattered rains around Cleveland, over towards Columbus and Dayton and Mansfield, Ohio. We've had the heavier rains, though, coming into West Virginia, and pockets of showers and thunderstorms, too, rumbling across Kentucky and Tennessee. Thunderstorms right now in progress for Nashville. So if you're heading off to work around maybe the Briley Parkway, give yourself some extra driving time to get to your destination. Again, there's our main low-pressure system, also the accompanying trough slicing on into Arkansas, and that's causing a very unstable air mass. So again, showers and thunderstorms will be the result for today. Now, so far, not too bad for Atlanta. Even if you're heading west of town on into Birmingham along Interstate 20, it's kind of quiet. But again, showers and thunderstorms have developed to your north up around Calhoun and Rome, Georgia, and more thunderstorms too rumbling around Chattanooga, Tennessee. High pressure, though, keeping it very quiet from New Orleans on into Florida. But come later this afternoon, with the heat and the humidity building, we certainly can't rule out the possibility for some hit-and-miss showers and thunderstorms across the southeast. More concentrated rains, though, once again for the Ohio Valley, and a very wet weather pattern, too, across the Great Lakes. As this low moved out of Minnesota, we've been seeing some showers flaring up around Oshkosh and Appleton, Wisconsin. More rains for the UP of Michigan. And there have been some scattered showers, too, around Saginaw Bay, back over towards Muskegon and Houghton Lake, even down towards Battle Creek and Benton Harbor. We've got some very wet weather conditions. And all this moisture continues to slide off towards the east at about 25 miles per hour. For much of the west, it will stay rather quiet, at least around Denver, Salt Lake City, on into Las Vegas. But again, this is the leftover moisture from Tropical Storm Ignacio, and it's going to be riding northward, lifting up towards Washington, Oregon throughout the day. Again, the rain continues to come down around Fisherman's Wharf, right around San Francisco through San Jose. Very heavy rain, though, in progress for Mount Shasta. And again, it's all riding off towards the north. How about temperatures at this time? Well, very warm and sticky and steamy across the southeast. Temperatures staying well into the 70s around Oklahoma City and Dallas and Hot Springs, Arkansas. Rather muggy start to the day, too, for Nashville with 72 and 75 for Atlanta. Meanwhile, heading towards the Great Lakes, 50s and 60s are common. Right now, it's 65 degrees for Chicago, 65 for Detroit, and temperatures low to mid-60s around Boston and back on into New York City. How warm will it be this afternoon? And is any of that rain across the Ohio Valley eventually heading over towards your direction later this afternoon? Well, let's have the answers. Here's the forecast with Bruce.
All righty, thank you, Cheryl, and here we go. Here's the big picture midday today. Lows heading east, so is the rain. With the frontal system, showers and storms could get a little angry out ahead of this front, while cooler, drier air marches through the Missouri River Valley. Well, let's take it piece by piece. Now, it's quiet now for your commute this morning from New York up to Hartford, Philly. Well, Philly's going to catch some showers very shortly, so part of the commute will be a little damp, but all this wet weather is heading on to the east. It'll be arriving later this afternoon, so pack along.
Weather Channel. No place on Earth has better weather.
A good Wednesday morning. It's time now for the tropical update. And although the weather has been fairly quiet in the tropics for the last couple of weeks or so, that may be about to change. As we take a look at the latest forecast models, it appears as if the long wave pattern will start to shift and change around the next few days or so. There appears to be more of a troughiness trying to form along the eastern seaboard and just off the coast. Meanwhile, a ridge of high pressure looks as if it may be establishing itself across the western Atlantic. Now, it hasn't happened always, but sometimes when there's a major change in a long wave pattern, sometimes that can spell more activity across the tropics. So this is something that we'll have to be watching out for in the days and weeks to come. Elsewhere, though, as we take a look at the climatology for this time span, now from 1886 to 1996, there has been 112 storms from August 21st through August 31st. So indeed, we are approaching that time of the year that's more climatologically favored for activity. We are rapidly approaching the peak of the hurricane season, which turns out to be September 10th. So usually as we approach the latter part of August through early September, activity does start to become a little bit more pronounced throughout the tropics. So that's something that we'll have to watch out for rather closely. But having said that, right now things are still relatively quiet across most of the Atlantic basin, likewise for the Gulf of Mexico and across the Caribbean. There are no significant disturbances right now to mention. As we zoom in closer, boy, it's about as quiet as it ever gets across the Gulf of Mexico. Fair skies are still the rule throughout most of the northern Gulf. There's a weak little upper level low kind of swirling around the Florida panhandle, so we're seeing a few showers there, but nothing really organized at the moment. And a few more stray showers, too, well over the southern part of the Gulf of Mexico, down towards the Bay of Campeche. Meanwhile, there have been a few showers, too, flaring up just south of Cuba this morning. You can see some of the activity right there south of the island. A few more showers and thunderstorms, too, cluster across around Panama and across northern fringes of South America. But generally speaking, it has been fairly quiet throughout most of the Caribbean. But we do see a few more clouds, though, filtering across the eastern Caribbean. Some cloudy skies, too, for portions of the Lesser Antilles, and some cloud cover southward over towards Trinidad and Tobago. But with these clouds, nothing is very well organized, and nothing is looking too threatening. As we head a little bit farther out towards the Atlantic, a few more tropical waves, though, coming off and pressing off the African coast. Here's the Cape Verde Islands, and typically as we look towards this zone, it becomes more and more favorable, at least as we approach the latter part of August and early September, as water temperatures are warming up steadily throughout this region. So in the days to come, we'll have to watch this area even more closely for the possibility of tropical development, although right now there are no tropical storms anywhere throughout this region. Heading out towards the East Pacific, here too, just several clusters of showers and thunderstorms, but nothing is very well organized. There have been some showers and thunderstorms hugging the Mexican coast, more showers and thunderstorms too as we approach Central America, but again, that's basically just about it. Likewise, the same can be said too off the coast of Baja California. Little disturbance right over through this region, but again, it's very poorly organized at this particular point, and it continues to drift off towards the west. But I'll tell you what, we have had leftover moisture from what used to be Tropical Storm Ignacio. It was well out across the Pacific, but now that moisture continues to feed into California, and over the last 24 hours or so, it's been a rather unusual, rare event to see rain in California for the month of August. Nonetheless, though, we had close to a half an inch of rain for San Francisco yesterday. Still some rain, although most of the rain now kind of tapering off. The rain continues to lift north of town, heading over towards Redding and Red Bluff. We've had the rain, more rain too for Arcata and Crescent City, California, and likewise for Shelter Cove. And then very heavy rains as we approach the mountains. Around Mount Shasta, heavy downpours are still in progress. And all that moisture will continue to ride off towards the north and eventually slide over towards Washington and Oregon for later this afternoon. And then farther out towards the Pacific, well, we have Tropical Storm Yule. Right now it's approaching very close to the Wake Island. It's about 50 miles northeast of the island, and it's right now packing winds of 65 miles per hour.